Good morning. We're going to go ahead and get started. You have a committee of two here today, actually, but that's okay. So we'll take a look and update you a little bit on the changes that the House has proposed, and then Representative Hurd and I will see if we can move it out of committee, subcommittee, unless we have some more members here. Okay, we will start with behavioral health. I believe you have the tracking document in front of you. The first major change is in adult addictive diseases, I believe. If you'll come down here to 15, 1.3 and 1.4. These are the funds for DD services to help the current women's programs and to help backfill TANF funds. And we are proposing a $2.5 million transfer of funds to that, and then under 1.4 we'll $740,560. Going on to the next page, 15.2.10, you will see another addition to supplement funds that were cut there, another $2.5 million going in there. If you'll follow on down to 15.4.9, $500,000 for mental health services added. Excuse me, taken away. Excuse me, that is moved. I'm sorry. That's based on the surplus from FY 11, and we will be adding $250,000 in for the Opening Doors to Recovery project, a continuation that project for high-risk adults with mental health problems. Did you see that on?
That's part of that $11 million that was FY.
No, that's from the $500,000. Mm-hmm. Right. And if you'll recall, we added that back in the supplemental as well. So this continues their effort. And then if you will look at 15.7.1, we are adding in money to go to the Marcus Autism Center, which will help 100 children get off the waiting list. And 15.10.2 shows a reduction of administrative funds, a 2% reduction in administration, and require the department to maintain a viable waiting list so we can better serve the populations. That language is back in there, and it is so important to this subcommittee that we continue to pursue all information that we can to find an accurate waiting list and see how many people we can move directly into services. Any questions? Okay. Let's go on to Human Services there, where we've had some large changes. And let's start with looking at the transfers from the Department of Labor, between Department of Labor and DHS. And there's 6 Department of Labor programs that are being transferred to the newly created Georgia Vocational Rehabilitation Agency. The agency will be attached to DHS, and safety inspections will be transferred from the Department of Labor to the Department of Agriculture. So through the budget, you'll see those change. Excuse me, Department of Insurance. It was originally Agriculture, but now it is Insurance. Excuse me for that. Other changes in the Department of Human Services. You will see that the business enterprise 27.3, where the House is reducing that to 0.
That's the part that's being added.
That's the part that's being added. That is being moved. So you'll see these are the changes that will flow throughout there, Representative Hurd, that you'll see the movement. As well, if you come down to 27.4, doing a fund swap with out-of-home care to reach the 58.2% penetration rate, which is necessary to maximize Title IV-E funding. If you turn to your next page, you'll see more of the swaps that move into Department of Labor throughout the document. $27.21.2 addresses that fund swap also to maximize the Title IV funding. And we've added language under 27.24 based on the DFAC's priority list and looking at past budgets. Moving over to the next page, the continuation of the Department of Labor changes, and particularly there when you come to 27.29, that section completely addresses the changes that begin to set aside the new agency for vocational rehabilitation. Also, to go back up here, the Council on Aging, we did reinstate the funding that they requested to make them whole. So when we look at Department of Labor, we've actually already addressed those, talking about the changes. And the veterans, yes, certainly.
I understand that.
Here, okay, quit.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I understand that under, I think it's vocational rehab, that there will be an addition of an executive director. Is that not correct?
That was the only position that was stated in our subcommittee hearing.
Did we put funding in the budget for that, or are they going to be able to?
Do we have does it show? We did not add the funding at this time.
So there's enough money. Where will those funds come from? Will they come from within the agency?
Within. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's the intent right now.
Okay.
Okay, so then moving right along, if you will, go to Veteran Services. There are no changes to that budget request. And also the Governor's Office of Children and Families, there were no changes to that request either.
They brought those contracts, those personal services contracts,
Mm-hmm.
they reinstated a 2% cut rather than a greater cut.
Okay, under Department of Labor, I do understand that yesterday the cuts, the 2% cuts were reinstated for the personal services contracts that were so important. I appreciate y'all coming in early this morning. Thank y'all for finding that money to make that work. It was very important. Okay, any further questions, Representative Hurd?
No, ma'am. I'm just hoping that this position of vocational rehab and also workforce development will be smooth. And but as you know, I do have some concerns about that, and I've made those known. We're making it an attached agency, and I guess I just have some concerns. I actually was one of the co-authors of a bill that transferred them from the Department of Human Resources over to the Department of Labor, and one of those reasons being that we wanted to make sure that emphasis was put on training and helping people, you know, who have disabilities, you know, to get jobs, which they can work. They may be physically challenged, but so often they're not mentally challenged.
Right.
And should be given the same right as anyone else, and should not be discriminated against because of their disability. And I hope this will continue to be the theme of that department, to help those citizens who have disabilities.
Well, I certainly agree with your concerns. I think our whole committee did as we worked through dealing with the dollar changes that will be affected there, and we'll just promise to keep a watchful eye on it. I'll count on you to help me do that and to help all of us do that. So I appreciate that. And just for all of you, because I know we have so many people who care so deeply about many services that come from these budgets, I want y'all to know that during the interim, we plan to do a number of on-site visits and try to, as a new chairman, I particularly want to get my arms really around much of what falls in this budget, much of the concerns that greatly affect Georgia's citizens. So I hope, and I know, I'll be hearing from all of you with ideas of places you'd like for me to come see, so that when we do sit down again and look at the supplemental, there's a picture in my head of what you're actually asking us to do. So if there's no further discussion, I guess I will entertain a motion.
I move you pass on the House Bill 742, Human Resources Subcommittee's budget.
And I think we can take that sort of as a consent here. Between the two of us, we agree on it. And we will move it forward then and send it on to Chairman England and the Full Appropriations Committee. Thank you all so much. I look forward to talking to each of you more. Okay, let's go back in. Okay, can you click me back on? Since we do have some other members of the entire Committee of Appropriations, we're going to go back in and actually vote it out if y'all will be with us. So we have a motion. Is there a second? We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed by like sign? Thank you. It officially carries forward.